Hi. Welcome to our Crafty Wednesdays. You guys, we need a name for our little get-togethers here on Wednesdays where we put together something so fun with our Dress It Up buttons. You guys, what should it be? Let me know if you've got a suggestion for what our little crafty get-togethers, gatherings, just let me know if you've got a cool way to describe what our gathering is. We definitely need like a name, something catchy, you know. Hi Emma, hi Willow, hi Joan. Hey everybody, how is everybody doing? It is the middle of the week, you guys, and we are going strong. I have so many fun things that I'm working on all at the same time, and I kind of love weeks that are like that, you know, where I've got a lot of fun things and so many different projects going on. It's a lot of fun to be busy, you know. I don't like to spend too much time being idle in my head. That can be a scary place. So welcome. Oh, I like it. Whimsical Wednesday. It's Whimsical Wednesday with Dress It Up buttons. So today's project is a really fun one, you guys. They're always fun, but this one just, I don't know. There's just something about this one that is just beyond cute, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. So I was gonna say, welcome to Dress It Up. And I think that got lost in there somewhere with my crazy rant for this morning. But we definitely do need a name. But welcome in. For those of you who are just now joining us, I have a fun project, like I was trying to say, and then my brain just went in a million different directions. We are putting together a little succulent planter today, and it looks like Frida. So, which might be like, why would you do that? Well, it's because it's so darn cute, for starters, and because Frida Kahlo's birthday was on Monday, you guys, and I love her. I love her art, and just in case you're wondering, you know, remember Selma Hayek played Frida in Frida? That just started streaming on Netflix, just so you know. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But anyway, so this is sort of what we're going for today. This one is on the small side. We're actually going to do one that is a little bit bigger than this one. This was just kind of like my my trial version, if you will, my little pint-sized baby version. But it doesn't take a whole lot of things, but one of the coolest things that we are using are the mini buttons. And you guys, over on dressedupshop.com, there is a whole variety of these mini buttons. There are minis and there are micro minis, which I did not know until just recently. There's actually a difference. Did you know that the buttons get smaller? I had no idea. So yeah, we're using some just regular minis, and I think they're pretty small. It was amazing to me to know that they get even smaller, but you can get these sew on buttons. They're under that category over on Dress It Up Shop. You can get these in hearts and stars and round and every color of the rainbow. And so what I have today to choose from is just kind of a mashup of what I had left over from other projects. The little mini buttons are some of my absolute favorites, and the colors are so vivid and bright and just beautiful. I thought this would be a really cool way to kind of show them off. So we're going to build a little planter. We're going to paint it. I do have some step outs so we don't spend the entire time painting, but we are going to do a little painting to make our little terracotta pot. I've got one here that I had painted for something else. We're going to work on this guy a little bit. And so you're just going to need some glue, some of your buttons. Well, and the glue needs to be hot glue for this, definitely. You're going to need some acrylic paint and then some flower embellishments, and I just took apart some little silk flowers that I had, but you can also buy paper flowers just like this that are actually the ones that I used on the miniature version. And then you need a little bit of ribbon. I don't know if you noticed when I held this up the first time, but there is ribbon going all the way around, and the ribbon is kind of serving two purposes. Number one, it makes it pretty all the way around, but number two, it serves as a surface to glue all of our flowers and our buttons, because this terracotta sometimes can be a little bit temperamental depending on if it is in a room that is too hot or too cold. Sometimes your hot glue will pop off. So we're using a ribbon to kind of help from having something like that happen. All right, so let's get down to it. I'm excited to get started. I've got the hot glue gun plugged in, I've got the paint poured out, and I'm ready to go. Who's with me? You guys ready? We're gonna make something cool. All right, let's do it. Joan has 3 hot glue guns and they all work. Joan, I'm gonna need one of your glue guns. I've got one, I just don't love it. I need a really good hot glue gun. All right, so here are our little round buttons. These are 2 hole buttons, and this is not exactly a mix that you can buy per se. It's just where I had leftovers. So this is part of my button stash, if you will. And if you are a button lover, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You definitely have started a button stash. And now that DressItUpShop.com is going on, now we can really start building up our button stash, right? That's super exciting. So this is just a very small portion of what is available as far as the colors are concerned when it comes to the little round sew-on buttons. So excuse me. Okay, so these are our buttons to choose from. I'm just going to kind of slide these over to the side for a second. My hot glue gun is here. We're going to start with the painting part. So I've got a planter here, and this little terracotta pot, he's not very big. He's about 3.5 inches tall and about 3.25 across. So he's not very big, but he's definitely a step up from the little miniature. Now you can do this on any size that you want to. I just thought that this was a really good kind of starter size to go with. Succulents, a lot of times if you're just starting out growing a succulent, they start very, very small, and then you can always transplant, that's the word I need. You can always transplant them into something larger. I'm not going to get into all about how to grow succulents because I saw just a second ago, Kathleen says that she's very good at killing succulents, and I have to say, I am too. And so I kind of cheat. My succulent is made out of plastic. But if you can grow a real succulent, I'm definitely not the person to give you any advice on that whatsoever. So my advice is just buy some that are already ready already, right? If you have to water it for whatever reason, even if it only takes a little bit of water, I kill it every time. Okay, so as far as paint is concerned, this one already has like a wash of white on it. That's okay. We're just going to paint over the top of it. So just ignore the paint that is already there. I'm using like an oyster colored, I don't want it to be stark white, and just some black, and I'm just using plain acrylic paint, and I have put that into my little paint palette here, and we're going to be grabbing for these. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take some of that kind of creamy color, and I just want to lay down kind of a base coat, and we don't need to paint the entire pot with this. We just need the area where our face is going to be, okay? And I'm using this cream color because it's a nice neutral, but you can change this up. You know, you could make this darker or lighter, is completely up to you. I didn't want to go with a pinky peachy tone, more like a, you know, a skin tone, just for the simple fact that the terracotta, sometimes when you put pink over it, particularly if you don't use a base coat of something, has a tendency to make it orange. And I'm not going for Frida Oompa Loompa. I'm just going for, you know, beautiful porcelain skin here, right? She probably would not appreciate being orange. So I'm just going to keep it this kind of creamy neutral. All right, and like I said, we don't have to paint the entire pot, and you don't have to paint up on the you did hear the ice cream truck, Joan. Yes, you did. Good ears. You don't even have to paint up here. We're going to paint all of this part black. We just want a section to be the cream color that's about 2.5 to 3 inches across, okay? And we're actually going to cover some of that with the black as well. And you just want to get a good base coat down. You can do 2 coats if you want to. Since mine already had some paint on it, I'm going to leave it just as is. And next we're going to go for the black. And I'm just going to kind of outline her hairline. And I'm actually going to use a pencil. I do want this to dry. It doesn't have to be completely dry, but I don't want it to be tacky anymore. And I just want to kind of draw in her hairline. And so what I want is, I want her to have a part in the middle. So I'm just going to kind of start with a little triangle here. And I've come down about a 1/2 inch from the very edge of this lip section here, okay? So just kind of laying out, this is where we're just going to pretend like the point of our little triangle, that's the peak of her part, okay? And then I want her bangs to kind of drape down, right? And then curve around to kind of create the round of her face. And it's okay if you don't like those first lines. Remember, we're going to paint over this with some black, so your pencil lines really don't matter too much. You can always erase very carefully if you want to. Oh, I did that one the wrong direction, see? So it's a good thing we can actually erase. And if your eraser marks leave a place on your base coat, you can always go back over with some of the original coat. So I don't know, you can tell I've just kind of given a little area here for her face, right? And the face is not going to be super detailed, but I do kind of want to mark it out so that we know where it's going to be. I am going to take my paintbrush and go back over just barely this little section right here where I erased my pencil marks. Just kind of blend that out a little bit, okay? Just a thin layer of paint to go over that will be just fine. Pencil is your friend for sure when it comes to painting, at least for me. I'm not the best painter when it comes to painting on flat things, so I always use a pencil. Okay, now I'm going to take a smaller paintbrush and I'm going to kind of outline with our black the hairline. And I definitely want to be sure that I come over the top of our pencil marks for sure. Okay, and then just kind of drape it around this way. And then do the same over here. Now with the black, you want to try to get as crisp of a line as you can on the edges, but you definitely want to use probably more than one coat of paint when it comes to filling in all of the hair. And then you can always come in later and kind of smooth out your edges. Okay, so I've got all of this part. Now all we want to do is we just want to take our black paint and we just want to fill in everything except this little section right here with our black paint. And you can actually tape this off if you're doing a larger planter, because you could definitely use these little terracotta pots. They get really, really big, so you could do really large ones, and you could tape this off with some painter's tape and then spray paint, and it would go much, much quicker. But we are just going to use our little paintbrush here and just fill in with our black. Depending on the quality of your paint, I don't buy expensive acrylics just for my regular crafting. Sometimes the quality is not the greatest. So if you're painting directly on to the terracotta with your black and you notice that it is very, very transparent, stop what you're doing and lay down a coat of white. That's going to help, or a cream color. Anything is going to work. But paint can be fickle, you know, and sometimes if you buy a whole pack of paints, you buy like the whole rainbow, and the formulation on some of them is really, really good, and then the formula on some of the others is not, even though they were in the same package, which is weird, but it has to do with how the colors are mixed, I'm sure. I'm definitely no expert. But I do know that putting down a white coat helps with everything. So Suzanne wants to know what kind of paint I'm using. I'm just using acrylic paint, and I'm using... the acrylic paint that I'm using is indoor-outdoor. However, even though it says indoor-outdoor, I have not had a whole lot of luck with my acrylic paints that say that, unless you put some sort of clear coat on them. So if you're actually going to take your planner outside and put something in it, maybe other than a succulent, and it's going to be exposed to the weather, even if it's just the sunshine that it's exposed to, I definitely would put some sort of clear coat over the top of this so that the sunshine does not bleach it out, and to protect it from any kind of extra water. Now, the terracotta is going to get wet, obviously. That's kind of the nature of the terracotta. When you water your plant, then it soaks it up and then the whole thing gets wet. Doesn't seem to bother it too much when it's coming from the inside out, but on the outside definitely makes a difference. All right, so I've gone all the way around, and then we just want to paint all around the top of this as well. You could, if you wanted to, skip this part if your ribbon that you're going to lay down is going to be wide enough. And you could just leave this like it is. But the ribbon that I'm using, I don't know if you noticed or not, but the ribbon that I'm using has some openings in it. So I definitely want to make sure that this is black all the way around. And then as far as the inside goes, we want to paint down on the inside as well. I'll show you when we get there. I'm just trying to kind of speed through this. So we're not going to have time to do both coats of the black, but I definitely recommend more than one coat to get this nice and covered. But we'll do one coat and then move on just a bit. I could be using a wider paintbrush for this as well. It'll probably be a little bit faster, but I just grabbed what I had nearby. Joe in that ice cream truck, he's turned around and he's coming back again. You'll be able to hear him again in a minute. So funny. He also has different songs that he picks. He comes through the neighborhood 2 times a day. He'll come by early in the day, like right now, which is pretty much lunchtime. But then he comes again after dinner. He knows what he's doing, you know. But he has different songs, and there's one of them that is really kind of creepy. And I always think when he plays it, like, he's sending the kids like running away in fear. Nobody is coming to buy ice cream when you play the creepy song. And I don't think that it's meant to sound creepy, but it absolutely does. It's a scary one. And then he has a voice that goes, "Hello, hello." And that's a weird one too. It's just like, just play the happy music, dude. If you want to sell ice cream, just play the happy music. Okay, so for the inside, we don't have to paint the entire inside, but we do want to go down about 1.5 inches with our paint, just so that it is seamless, of course. And sometimes when you plant something, you know, you plant it and you think it's nice and full, and it's coming all the way up to the top of your planter, and then over time, once the soil starts to settle a little bit, it sinks. So we just want to be sure that we get that whole inside area. And the good thing about the succulents is that the acrylic paint does not seem to bother them at all. Other kinds of houseplants, you want to check before you paint down on the inside of your pots like this, for sure. But most succulents, particularly plastic ones, they don't seem to mind the paint. So, all right, so I've painted that whole, yes, I laugh at my own jokes. I've painted the whole inner, you know, top portion of our pot, so it is ready to go. Willow says, ice cream trucks are awesome. Do they still have Phantom ice cream? You know what? I don't know. I do not know. But Willow, you have the best name ever. I love your name. So cool. Okay, so this is ready for her face. However, before you go on to the face, you definitely want to give this, you can see where that white is kind of peeking through on the black. So you definitely want to give this another coat of black, maybe 2 more coats of black, and let it dry really, really well before you move on. But we don't have that kind of time, so I'm going to set that one to the side. I do have one that is already ready to go. Her hairline is just a little bit different, you can see, and this one has more of like a curve, whereas this one is more like kind of curtains. It's totally up to you. Get creative. You can make her hairline look like whatever you want it to, you know? All right, so this one is dry. This one dried overnight, so we're ready to move on. Let me get the paint out of the way so that I don't make a huge mess, which it looks like I've already done. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to use some paint markers just because I feel like I have way more control with the paint markers than I do with a paintbrush if I'm going to be painting something like this. So I want to give her a face, and you can see with this, the face that's on this one is very, what is the word? It is whimsical. It's not the greatest face in the world, okay? I mean, I'm being completely honest with you. It's just a cute, just kind of, you know, it's just a definite face. She does have the little unibrow going on, so we know it's Frida. But as far as the details are concerned, I'm not spending a lot of time on the details. I'm just going as bare bones as possible with this, okay? So if you want to get super, super creative, please be my guest. I'm not. I'm just not that creative when it comes to painting 2D, okay? All right, so I want to use my pencil and kind of lay out where those eyebrows are gonna be. And again, we can always kind of go back over and erase if we need to. But I definitely want to kind of center with her hairline. And then the eyebrows really are, to me at least, that's like the most important part. I'm going to make these a little thick. So I just kind of sketched out where the eyebrows are going to be. We'll go back over that in a second. Now, I want her eyes to be closed just because I'm not an artist when it comes to this. So maybe in other ways, but not this. So I just want to make a curve so that that's like her eye is shut, and try very, very hard without using like a grid here to make it as even with the other one as possible. So there are her eyes, and then I want to give her some lashes just to kind of let you know for sure that those are her eyes and not like, yeah, you get it, you get it. I think the eyelashes are pretty important with this. All right, so there are the eyelashes. Now, as far as a nose is concerned, you definitely don't have to do a nose. I'm not a big nose person. I just do a little, just a little something, right? Just so that, you know, she can breathe there. All right, so when it comes to lips, you can draw a heart. You can really kind of do whatever you want to. I start with like a little mountain range here and then just kind of come around. Now with the lips, I didn't even really have to give them a line. I'll give the line later with the paint pen. So the lips are going to be a red or a pink or whatever color you want them to be, and then I do want to outline them in some black. So just as long as I have like the basic shape, then we're good to go. All right, so now I'm going to come in with my paint markers here just because they are so much easier to work with. If you don't have paint markers, you absolutely can do this with a black permanent marker with a fine tip on it. You just want to go over it several times. And then once that dries, if you want to use a toothpick or a really, really tiny paintbrush, you can go over the marker line if you want to. To me, it feels easier to use, you know, something that's shaped like a marker to draw these little shapes than to go at it with a paintbrush. I feel like I get my lines way too thick when I do that. So I'm just trying to work the paint down here on my marker. All right. So now this is why you want your base coat to dry really, really dry. Okay. if it is tacky at all, your paint markers will not do what they're supposed to do. Trust me, I learned this the hard way. So definitely make sure that your base coat of paint is really, really dry, okay? So with this one, I'm really coming in and making little kind of individual eyebrows, whereas with the other one, I didn't. I just did lines. Up to you, whatever you want to do. In fact, if I do this and I don't like it, then I'll just go back in and make it just more of a blob. It actually looks really good either way, so it's really up to you. No two Fridas will be the same, which is what makes it so darn cool, right? All right, so we've got our little eyebrows going on. Man, I love paint markers. It makes it so much easier. They're just so good. Okay, so now I want to come in very carefully with that line. And there's one. And then this guy, we'll probably have to erase some of the pencil marks after this dries. Definitely. So there's that one. Yeah, so once this dries, I'll come in and very carefully erase all of the little pencil marks that you see, so those will be gone. There's her little nose. And now I'm going to get out the kind of pinky color. And do the lips here. Probably should have gone with red because we're using roses, red roses for her hair, but you know. All right, and the lips may need more than one coat. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. We're going to work on some other things. And after this dries, I will come in and I will do the outline with black. But I definitely need that to dry a little bit before I bring the black on top of it. Trust me, the paint markers, and it doesn't matter what brand you use, they are really, really fickle. So you definitely want to be sure that all of your layers, when you're using them on top of other layers of paint, are completely dry. If not, they grab a hold of the base layer and they pull it. So it makes a big mess. All right, so now we're going to move on to the fun part. And not that that wasn't fun, but we're going to come up here and I'm going to lay down some ribbon. And you can see my ribbon is not a solid ribbon. I got this from, I think, the dollar store long time ago, but I do see it in craft stores and stuff. It looks like rhinestones, but it's not. It's just, they're kind of concave. They have a little bit of a little facet to them, so they're nice and shiny. I want to lay this down all the way around the top of the planner so that this is going to be actually what we glue our flowers to. It's better for the ribbon and the glue on the ribbon to fail than for it on all of the flowers to fail. So that's why we're using the ribbon. So I'm just going to lay down a little bit of hot glue here and glue down one end of our ribbon. Okay, and then I'm going to come around here and I'm going to put another little bit right here in the front. I'm going to add another hot glue stick to my glue gun here. I know that the front here will be covered with those flowers, so I don't have to worry if the paint kind of squishes through the ribbon. Okay, and then keep going all the way around. So if you're using a pot that is the same size as the one that I'm using, you're going to need about 10.5 inches of ribbon. And that will get you covered for sure. And that's pretty seamless on the back. Really, nobody's going to be looking that hard at the back, so it's okay. All right, so she does have a little bit of sparkle. It's like a headband, right? You just imagine it as a headband. If you don't want yours to be sparkly and shiny, you can use just a regular solid color piece of ribbon, but I highly, highly recommend using the ribbon as your surface between the terracotta and your flowers. It makes a big, big difference. Terracotta is just so temperamental. Now, if you're using a plastic planner instead, you could probably leave out the ribbon part, okay? All right, so now I have taken apart some flowers. These were, you know, just little roses that I had. I popped out the center. I think I got these at the dollar store. I do a lot of my crafting shopping at the dollar store. And I'm just gonna glue it down, even though it has that opening in it. I'm gonna glue that down. And I want my flowers to be as close together as possible, and I'm not going to fill up the entire band, okay? So just going to come in and down a little bit of glue and then put down my flower. And it's okay if the glue seeps through the center of your flower, because we're going to cover that up with all of our awesome little buttons. I love hot glue, but one of the things that I do not love about hot glue is the little kind of like spider web that it makes. It tends to get on everything. So when you get finished, you have to go back through and kind of clean up the mess you've made. All right, so I don't have a ton of these. That's all right. You could go all the way around if you want to with your flowers. I don't have enough to do that. So we're just going to keep our flowers kind of to the front. I've got to get a new hot glue gun, guys. Recommendations, if you've got them, I'll take them. I want a really, really good one. And you can see she's already looking like Frida. So cute. So, so cute. All right, we've got, let's see. We'll do 2 more flowers on either side here. Okay. All right, now we're going to put down our little buttons, and I'm just using whatever color I happen to pick up. I want them to be bright and cheerful and fun. You can do just one in the center if you want to, or you can do several. With the small one that I did 3 of the little buttons. I think that's what we're going to do with these 2. I think we're going to use 3. Rosalinda says, I heard a blow dryer or a heat gun works to clean up the webs. I've never heard that. That's really cool. I'll have to try that. I've got a heat gun, I've got for sure. Okay, so we are going to come in with our little buttons, and there's a couple of different ways you can do this. It's all messy, regardless of how you decide to do it. You can put down a big glob of glue and then place 3 buttons, or you can put glue on each one of the buttons, you know, or a little glue. It's really up to you. It's not going to make much of a difference. You are going to have glue seepage. That is just part of it. And you are also going to have the little spider webs. That's also just kind of part of it. But, you know, it's like I always say, if you're not making a mess, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And the little buttons, if you come in with some tweezers, that definitely helps. I meant to grab mine and completely forgot. But these are just going to serve as the little colorful centers for each one of our flowers. And on DressItUpShop.com, there are so many colors to choose from. You definitely will not have a hard time picking out exactly what speaks to you. There is just so much. Look how cute that is. So it's just adding an extra little pop of color to the inside of our red flowers here. And you don't have to go with red flowers. You definitely could do this with any color flower that you want to, for sure. The one on the small little pot that I did, I used the paper flowers in more of like a pastel. And then I used the bright red for this one. I think the bright red is going to look really good with a succulent coming out of the top of it. Plastic, mind you. So the little buttons, as we're going along, gluing our little buttons to the middle of each one of our flowers, there are so many fun things that you can do with these little buttons. And I don't know if it is because of the color that I love them, or if it is because there are so many possibilities when it comes to using them. My daughter, my youngest, she has American Girl dolls. If you guys have kids, you definitely, if you've got girls, you definitely know what I'm talking about. American Girl dolls. She has several. And since we've been in quarantine, you know, and safe at home, my husband built her a dollhouse for American Girl dolls. Okay, now kind of think about that for a second, because American Girl dolls, they're not small. So this dollhouse is like monster sized, right? I mean, it really, it's huge. It takes up a huge part of her room, and it's 2 stories. It's just crazy. But anyway, she uses these little buttons. She has a little container. Let me show it to you. She has little containers like these, and she puts the little round sew-on buttons into the containers. Number 1, because they shake and make a really cool sound, but number 2, because they look like candy. So she has some that are little candy containers for her dolls, and then she has some that just have the white buttons in them, and that is her, she calls it Doll-and-all, like Tylenol, but Doll-and-all. So when I say you can literally use your Dress It Up buttons, sew-on buttons for anything, I mean it. And trust me, we've done it. Whatever it is, we've done it. We've used them for just that exact purpose, right? Anything you can think of. They make cute little containers for candy for your dolls. They also work on paintings to add texture. They're so fun. And of course you can sew them on. I mean, obviously it's a button that you can sew just like any other button, but definitely think outside the box when it comes to your little Dress It Up buttons, any of your Dress It Up buttons. All right, there we go. That's the last one. Yeah, Doll-and-all, you like that? All right, so I have put in each one of the centers of my little flowers all of the little buttons. And you know what? I'm actually going to go, when we get done here, I'm actually going to add more to the insides, because particularly with these flowers, the 3 that are here in the front, they have such a large center. I feel like they need some more. So I'm going to add some more of the little buttons when we are finished here. Let's go in really quickly and kind of clean up the face a little bit. I'm going to, somebody's blowing their nose in the hallway. I apologize if you heard that. Speaking of safe at home, I have 2 teenagers and a 10-year-old home with me. I need one of those lights. Did you guys ever used to watch Full House back in the day when they moved the radio studio to the basement and they had a light that was over the door to let you know if they were recording? I need one of those. All right, so now I just want to come in and kind of outline the lips very carefully. Oh, I think I picked up the wrong marker. This one is not. I have two black markers because one of them is starting to dry up a little bit. I think it's this one. Not too bad. And you can get really, really detailed with this if you want to, but I'm just keeping it really, really simple. You know, I'm no I'm no Picasso. All right, so there we go. Isn't she cute? And you could add even more buttons to this if you wanted to. You could do buttons all the way around. If you didn't put the ribbon on here, you could use other buttons to go around. You could put some in her hair if you wanted to. Give her some little barrettes with some little buttons in a row on either side. Totally up to you. If you wanted to give her some cute little blush cheeks, you could put some little pink buttons on either side to give her little blushing cheeks if you wanted to. So many different things. You can use those little buttons for literally anything, you guys. All right, so that's it for us. You want eyelashes like hers? Joy, me too. The struggle is real. Oh, but speaking of just totally random, I bought some of those magnetic ones. Haven't tried them yet, but I'm gonna try it and see if they work. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. So here we go. Here is our cutie patootie little Frida. She is not perfect, and I love her even though she is not, right? And I have two. And actually the one that we started painting just a little while ago is gonna be dry here soon, and it's gonna need another coat of paint. So I'll actually have 3 of these by the time I'm done, but I think they are super, super cute. They're gonna look really cool with some fake plants or not fake. You know, if you can actually grow something good, right? I can't grow anything except plastic. So mine will have plastic succulents in them, but they are going to look really, really cute with the little succulents coming out of the top of them. They're going to look like little green crowns, just super, super cute. So that's it. That's it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I thought it was a lot of fun. I am always looking for new ideas and fun things to do with Dress It Up buttons. So if you've got any suggestions, definitely send us a message and let us know. I am here to craft for you. So you let me know what you'd like to see, and I will put it on the calendar for you guys. If you have not had the opportunity to go check out dressitupshop.com, definitely go and do that. Go ahead, sign up for the emails and sign up for an account, right? So that you are the first to know when new things come onto the site. You will get insider information through the email subscription, and you'll be ahead of the game when it comes to all the crafty goodness. Guys, there is a ton of project ideas. There is a gallery. There are video projects. So much button goodness over on dressitupshop.com. So definitely go check it out. Check out all of the fun buttons. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you guys again, same time, same place, right here next week. Bye, guys.